Hello, and welcome to the Cybercrime Support Network LinkedIn Live with Keeper Security. I'm Cindy Liebes, the Chief Program Officer for Cybercrime Support Network. Today is a great program. A little bit about my background. I came to CSN after having worked for 35 years at the Federal Trade Commission. I retired as the regional director for the Southeast Regional Office of the FTC. My background included predominantly litigating cases against internet fraudsters and other folks that were engaged in unfair and deceptive acts and practices against consumers and small businesses, including the military and veteran community. I also did quite a bit of education to help folks out there understand how to stay safe online and how to protect themselves from the cyber criminals that are out there targeting you. We have a great program today. Along with us, we have Ursula Palmer and Mark Cravata. Ursula, could you introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely, Cindy. Thank you so much. As you said, my name is Ursula Palmer. I am the Executive Director of Military and Veteran Programs here at Cybercrime Support Network. I am a certified project manager, marketing and communications professional, but my career advocating for the military and veteran community started about a decade ago after my late husband was killed while he was in active duty in Afghanistan, and I became a Gold Star spouse. And since then, I've had the opportunity to start advocating and working for several organizations who work and support the military and veteran community.
And Mark.
Thank you, Cindy. My name is Mark Cravata. I'm a graduate of West Point. I'm a veteran U.S. Army officer, also a disabled veteran. I've been spending the last 20 years working in technology and cyber. Prior to coming to Keeper, I worked a lot of ransomware and incident response for a company in Northern Virginia called the Crypsis Group. And I'm now working as the Chief Revenue Officer at Keeper Security, helping people protect themselves from password-related breaches.
Oh, great. Well, thank you both for being here, and thank the audience for viewing this. You know, Veterans Day is an opportunity for the nation to honor its military and veteran community. But unfortunately, cyber criminals often take advantage of this occasion and attempt to steal people's money with a variety of scams. These scams often target service members, their families, and veterans, and the entire community. However, fraudsters also try to trick Americans who are motivated to donate to veteran causes. Mark and Ursula, you're both part of the military and veteran community. Mark, I think I'll start with you. Why do you think cyber criminals target vets?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very real thing. I will tell you that the veteran and military community at large is a very close-knit community. We take care of one another. We seek to help each other. You learn that in the military and the supporting organizations around the military. You learn to become a network that depends on one another. And so by nature, we take care of one another. And I think there's a lot of people in this country that are patriots that want to join the cause. Either, hey, I thought about serving and didn't get that opportunity, or I'm just so grateful for what you do. So, it's a front and center organization. I've been out of the military for almost 30 years, and I still talk to my military, classmates and compadres every day. I see them, we collaborate. So it's one of the closest knit organizations, but I think by nature, we're designed to help people. It's why you make those sacrifices, and it's why you go to work and put yourself in harm's way. So it's just kind of who we are. And I think that criminals understand that there's a heart there, and a heart to serve and a heart to help others.
Yes, and unfortunately, those cyber criminals can easily scam or try to scam veterans and the military, especially around these types of military holidays. Ursula, what's your experience with offers that you may be receiving during the holidays, these type of holidays like Veterans Day?
Yeah, well, during any military related holiday, we are bombarded with messages of appreciation. And of course, Veterans Day is no different. Many times, those messages also include an offer to get something for free or with a very generous discount. And most of these, don't get me wrong, are very well intentioned offers. The problem is that bad actors take advantage of this multitude of messages to mislead people. Many times these offers are very flashy, but they're very, very vague.
Yeah, that the vagueness, lack of specifics is definitely a sign that people should start asking questions, slow down, think about what's being offered, do your research. What are some of the indicators, Mark, that a discount offer might not be legitimate?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is when it's too good to be true. That's
The old
probably the first
adage.
sign that's like, yeah, something's up. There's a lot of different ways that it, can prompt itself, but I think just that's one is, if it smells wrong, it probably is. There's a lot of ways to tell, phishing attacks where things are misspelled or that they're trying to target you, but a lot of it too is they're asking for information that isn't normally asked for on a promotion. I mean, you should be able to, in a promotion like that, be able to go somewhere and to sign up for something without giving away your identity and things like that. So, a lot of people will head down that road. They'll click on something and they'll get into it and realize, somebody calls you up and asks you for your personal information, your bank account, your credit card. That is a big red flag. And it happens a lot too in our aging military community. Our vets from Vietnam are now elderly. They're right in the sights of these. I have a mother-in-law. My father-in-law was a general officer. She is targeted every day, and she will give to any cause, and invariably that includes banking information on a regular basis. And so those are the kind of things that jump out at me.
Yeah, I often say you would never give that type of information, your personal information, if I walked up to you on the street and said,
Yeah,
give me your social security number. Yet
yeah.
we often do that online. Ursula, are there any other red flags that you could share?
Yes, absolutely. For instance, if you first need to pay a fee to then get something for free, like scholarships, then it's not free. Also, we need to be wary of free offers that require you to provide, like Mar said, personal identifiable information, such as your birthday, your mother's maiden name. Reputable organizations that need to verify your eligibility for a discount will use a secure service such as ID Me. There, your military or veteran status can be identified safely. Also, be careful of deep discounts. Take a look at the small print. Many times, those discounts are going to lock you into a continuity plan.
Yeah, continuity plans are really, really tough, oftentimes to get out of. We've all seen those ads, whether it's online or on TV or social media, for subscription offers. Many of them say free, get this for free, free trial. But often there is a catch. So, some of the things that you should keep in mind: if you don't cancel that offer on time, you will be charged.
Yeah.
Many times you have to pay high shipping fees or taxes for your quote free product. It's not free if you have to pay money. And so before anybody signs up for a free trial offer, think about what exactly are you agreeing to? Read the fine print. What's the length of the trial period? And how and when can you cancel if you don't want to continue with the full subscription after the trial period? If that information is not readily available, if you can't understand exactly what you're agreeing to, stop. Do not sign up. Sometimes cancellation and return policies on free trial offers are so strict, it's almost impossible to do. Continuity plans can be great if you understand what you're doing. But if you can't cancel, if you don't know how to get out of that continuity plan, if you can't stop it, it can be a nightmare. Mark, have you seen scams such as this or other scams?
Absolutely. And I think you nailed it. I mean, the continuity plans that don't offer, we don't know what we're getting into when we go down the road of an offer. And, if it's not right for us, or if it's something that just doesn't work or isn't what we thought it was going to be, the right to cancel without penalty is huge. And the reality of it is there's a lot of choice in this world, and there's always a solution out there that will offer you that flexibility. It's how we're buying as consumers anymore. Nobody's signing up forever for anything. And I think you guys made some really good points. So one is, what is the continuity plan? Two is to be able to get out of it without penalty. And then, just a nuance on that conversion. You move from a trial, does it automatically convert to something that's paid, and does it automatically hit your credit card? You'll know that if they're taking your payment information up front. And then, how long and for what term does it go on for? And then does it auto renew at the end of that term? And, those auto renewals can be, super detrimental in that, oh, you had to give us 90 days notice before you decide to cancel. We've renewed you for another year, and it can go on in perpetuity, and it can be super expensive. So, those things are, the lack of flexibility around payments and cancellations, and taking large sums of money up front versus monthly. A lot of us veterans are on fixed income. I'm on disability, those kind of things. A lot of the veterans are living off of that, or Social Security, or military benefits, survivor benefits, those kind of things. They don't have the money to be paying for this up front. They have a very solid income, and that's one of the targets. But those are all things that should be watched for. And like I said, there's plenty of alternatives out there. It's just because they called doesn't mean that's the best thing going. If it sounds great, do your homework and then go out and find something that's really amazing.
Yeah, that's true. You talked about bogus benefit scams where oftentimes we will hear that people are targeting service members and veterans and their families
Sure.
for their benefits. Have you seen any bogus benefit scams out there, Mark?
No, absolutely. Like you said, my mother-in-law is elderly. I process her email and handle her finances. I mean, I get hundreds of these offers, targeting her in the military, and there are other forms of bias like religion, politics. They're all targeted, and as a military demographic, a lot of us fall into multiple categories, so we're being targeted on multiple fronts. And those scams are very, very widespread. And even when they're not scams, when they're offering a legitimate service, doesn't mean they have good value, and it doesn't mean they're worth it. So just because they're legitimately offering you a recipe doesn't mean you should pay $700 for it. So it does get pretty extreme out there in terms of what's being offered for the money, and they do that because that makes the offer legitimate. You're opting in. You're not being coerced into it. There's a fair trade, of value for money, and that is defensible in court. It's defensible as an offering, and it's not really very hard to prosecute that as a scam, despite the fact that at face value or intrinsically it's a scam.
Yeah, it's often very difficult. And I know with the imposter scams, like we were talking about with the benefit scams, sometimes you'll receive an email or a voice message saying your VA profile was flagged and the benefits are going to be problematic. They may be cut off. And that immediacy, you immediately have to do something, time-sensitive entitlements, respond back immediately. And these types of scams, when you respond quickly, when you respond and don't think about it and slow down, it can result in identity theft, or that the information that you share can be linked on the dark web where hackers can buy and sell and trade breached and stolen data about you. There's other scams, Ursula, that tend to target veterans and military personnel. I know you and I had talked about job scams. Can you talk a little bit about that, Ursula?
Yes, absolutely. Well, right now, unfortunately, and especially with the pandemic, a lot of people have been looking for work from home. And cyber criminals have taken that opportunity, and the thing is they put ads in the same websites and places where other ads for legitimate jobs are placed as well. So we don't know, but for that we need to pay attention and see if the offer, if the hourly rate is higher than average. Well, that's a red flag. If they reach out to you when you have not applied for anything, then that's a red flag. If they tell you that they want to do a Zoom or even Facebook or an online type of interview, but through a method that is not normal, through WhatsApp, through a messenger app, those are all red flags. So do not provide information. Do not pay a fee to start your training. Do not give personal information until you have verified that that organization exists, and that those job offers are actually out there in their website, and that is a legitimate website.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mark, romance scams also using the identities of either deceased servicemen, like happened to Ursula with her deceased husband, are also very common. Have you seen anything like that in your?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have this situation in my family, and, just the surviving spouse is, targeted for a lot of things, benefit scams, romance, etc. So those are all super problematic, but they're definitely out there. And, the information is pretty readily available. And if we think about how that information is provided, social media, we're good at identifying our situation online. My profile says I'm a widower. My profile, celebrates my husband or wife's birthday every year. We talk about these things, and these are all places to gather information legitimately because we're providing it. So, I really do encourage people to be leery as to what they tell people online, and also who you share it with. I mean, social media can be fantastic, but it can also be super detrimental, especially if you're sharing broadly with the public at large. The more people you let into your world, the more you're going to find yourself in harm's way. So, and again, just nobody should be asking for your personal information. There are laws. I mean, we talked about job seeking with Ursula. They're not allowed to ask you what you make. They're not allowed to ask. I mean, there's a lot of laws. So if people are asking those kinds of questions, proper human resources organizations know that those questions are out of bounds. They can't ask you about your race, your religion, your family situation, any of that. And the fact that it comes up is an immediate, flag to stop.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and we all have a habit of sharing way too much personal information
Yeah.
online. So, and talking about romance scams, a lot of times, service members or veterans' faces, their likeness will be used in these romance scams. At CSN, we have a peer support program for those who have been survivors of romance scams, the victims. Wow. And often they talk about that the profile that is used is someone in the military, and the story is all about, I'm in the military, I can't come see you because I'm deployed somewhere. So it's often difficult, and they impersonate someone else, a military service member or a veteran, or they can impersonate a charity to create a fake charity. The military and veteran community is such a wonderful community, as you said earlier, and we're all moved to help each other and to help out on Veterans Day. And the cyber criminals know this, and they know a good portion of the American public wants to help, especially during this time of year. So for people, it can be often difficult to determine which charities are legitimate, especially when you're bombarded by emails and messages about Veterans Day. It's a time of year when we all want to help the military and the veterans. But when I worked at the FTC, we filed at the FTC, along with dozens, almost every state and other territories. We filed lawsuits against what we called sweeps, initiatives against fake charities, one of which was Veterans of America. The lawsuit alleged that the defendant used fake veterans charities and illegal robocalls to get people to donate cars, boats, and things of value, which these creeps, if you will, these cyber criminals then used for their own and sold for their own benefits. The scheme used various names, Veterans of America, Vehicles for Veterans, but all of these were fake names to get people to donate to a cause. And so you really have to be very careful. Check out a charity, make sure that you know that the charity is legitimate. You can go to the IRS and check out a charity. You can also go to your local either Secretary of State in your state where you are, or there is a website, a group called NASCO, that's the National Association of Charity Organizations, and that lists all of the legitimate charities. But Ursula, are there red flags that people should keep in mind when donating to veteran-related causes?
Yes, definitely. There's some additional things to keep in mind. If they ask you to send funds to a foreign bank or send a donation in cash or by gift card or by wiring money, just don't do it. It's a scam.
Yep.
If someone you don't know contacts you out of the blue claiming to be a victim or pressuring you to go and open an email and an attachment they just send you, don't do it. If someone tries to rush you into making a donation, again, it's a scam. Also, a common tactic is when scammers thank you for a past donation, but that you never really made it, and they ask you to donate again. So you said, "Oh well, if I already donated, I'll donate again." Again, a scam. Also, guaranteeing sweepstakes winnings in exchange for a donation is another trick, but it's not only a scam; it's also illegal. Now,
Yes.
scammers often make vague and sentimental claims, but give no specifics. So, just like you said, Cindy, before you donate, you can check with the Better Business Bureau as well, with Charity Navigator, Charity Watch, Guide Star. All of those organizations will tell you and will even show you 990s and IRS status. And of course, you can just go straight to the IRS and also check if your donation will be deductible. There are some donations to some organizations that even though they are nonprofits, those donations are not deductible.
Oh, thank you, Ursula. Those are great tips. And if unfortunately you or a veteran or your family has been impacted by a cybercrime, regardless of the scam, please always report to the FBI's IC3 or to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. It is vitally important that you report these scams because it's based on those reports that the law enforcement agencies can bring actions against these companies and spot trends and find out who's doing what and where and work with one another so that they can stop these scams. Also, report the scam to the bank or the money service organization you may have used to send the funds and report it to the online platform where you were contacted. And please visit the CSN's fightcybercrime.org/military to see tips on how to recognize, report, and recover from the specific scams that you may have experienced. That's fightcybercrime.org/military. So in closing, Mark, do you have any last thoughts how else veterans can feel more secure that their accounts haven't been compromised?
Yes, I mean, I would tell you first and foremost is, do your own homework and seek things out on your own terms, and you'll generally be led to a good path. But if you do think that you've been breached, there are tools. One of the reasons I work at Keeper Security is we have a tool called Breach Watch. It will tell you immediately if your credentials have been compromised on the dark web. The sooner that you can correct that, the lower the likelihood that those credentials will be utilized in a malicious way. So time is of the essence. There are identity theft companies like LifeLock that are really important that will monitor to make sure, and they'll also protect you with insurance if if you do become victim of a criminal attack or an identity breach. So those things are important. The other thing I'll say is a credit card is always better than a bank. Do not use your checking account, your debit card, or anything like that ever. If you don't have a credit card, don't donate that way. They can use those credentials to drain your bank account. A credit card company will protect you from fraud. They're used to it. They have a certain amount of reserves. They also have resources to fight if this becomes widespread. So those are my bits of advice. But seek out good cybersecurity tools to help. They'll help position that. But always be alert. In the military, we do that anyway by nature. It's part of our jobs to be alert, to be aware, and to always kind of second guess what doesn't look right. So same thing for online things. As fun or helpful as they seem, they can really be detrimental.
Oh, thank you. And any final thoughts, Ursula?
Yes, well, Mark, I want to thank you and Keeper Security for joining us and for allowing us to share, some of these tips that our military and veteran community, so that our military and veteran community can stay safe online. And also, before we go, I do want to point out that finances are not the only thing that are affected by cybercrime. Our peace of mind is as well. So if you have been impacted, please reach out to a friend, to a counselor, someone you trust and who can help you navigate these strong emotions. Especially do not blame yourself. Scammers are criminals that exploit vulnerabilities and always come up with new tricks to deceive even the most technically savvy individual. Now, several of our partner VSOs offer programs that provide support and resources, not only for the financial issues, but also for mental health. So please, if you're listening today, please visit our partner section, and the link should be now in the chat.
And Ursula, thank you very much. And you are so right. You are not at fault if you've been victimized by a scammer. These people are professionals. They're good, and they exploit the good nature of those, especially who are willing to serve our country and those who want to donate to those who are willing to serve our country. Thank you both, Ursula and Mark. It has been a wonderful LinkedIn Live, and I do appreciate you taking the time to talk a lot about those cyber crimes that are impacting the military and veteran community. Thank you.
Thank you both.